got a...
Ever fancied having a beer in the stands while watching your team at the Emirates? Well, this season you actually can, and not just there. You can do it at Anfield, Goodison Park, Stamford Bridge and Old Trafford too. But hold on, I hear you cry. Isn't drinking alcohol in the stands at Premier League games illegal? You're right, for the men's game it still is, but the Women's Super League is doing something different. And here's how we got there. Back in the 1980s, football had a serious image problem. The sport was plagued by violence, pitch invasions and beer-fuelled chaos. From fan riots at the 1980 Scottish Cup final to the Heysel disaster years later, things were unsafe and the consequences were disastrous. Then in 1985, Margaret Thatcher's government stepped in. They introduced the Sporting Events Control of Alcohol Act, banning alcohol in view of the pitch across England and Wales. Since then, many fans and clubs have called for the law to be relaxed, especially since other sports don't face the same restrictions. If you're popping down to watch the Red Roses roar at Twickenham, feel free to grab a pint on the way to your seat. Wandering down to Lord's to catch some boundary bashing? Fill your boots with G&Ts. But if you were hoping to cheers your club's promotion to the Premier League with a Prosecco in hand from pitchside, sorry, it'll have to be tea or Bovril. In 2021, it looked like things might finally change. The government commissioned the Crouch Report, a fan-led review into football governance. One recommendation was to allow League Two and National League clubs to lift the alcohol ban to boost matchday revenue. But nothing came of it. Authorities still weren't convinced that fans could be trusted. And then in January 2025, something did change. The Women's Championship, now called the WSL2, launched a trial allowing fans to drink in the stands. The reasoning? Well, fans at women's matches tend to behave differently. Less aggression, more family-friendly vibes. Now, the women's game is raising the bar, literally. Select WSL and WSL2 stadiums are allowing fans to drink alcohol in view of the pitch. It's been a landmark move, showing growing trust in fans and recognising that women's football is building its own culture. So could the men's game be the next to leave the 1980s behind? Well, maybe, if fans can prove they can handle a pint without pitching it at someone. Yeah, don't hold your breath. Until then, it's Bovril all around. Cheers to that.
Good morning, welcome along to Sunday Edition with myself, Bad Bunny Shaun Custis and Good Bunny Henry Winter. Arsenal march on at the top of the Premier League, but Pep warns that chasing Man City are not far off dominance again. England was certainly dominant in the rugby, crushing hapless Wales at Twickenham, and there's much optimism they can win the Six Nations. Kieran Bracken will be with us to wallow in the hammering, and we'll ask if he can find any hope for the Welsh. Can we win some winter medals in Milan? We'll be talking all things ice and snow at 9:30. And we want to hear from you on all the main talking points. Text us on 81089, and we want your WhatsApp voice notes 03717 223344. We're also live on YouTube and your smart TV. Just search talksport.com/watch for more details. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT. Morning, Good Bunny.
Morning, Bad Bunny.
I don't know where that all comes
What a strange debate. Why can't I be Bad Bunny?
Because you're sycophantic, Bunny.
Yeah.
You're bad for a bit, but then you're all good and you have to balance it up because you have to be nice to everybody.
All right, well, you're Bad Bunny, I'll be Good Bunny. Anyway, we're splitting hairs. Can't we be Starsky and Hutch?
Will you be watching Mr. Bunny in the halftime show?
Yeah, obviously I'll be changing tubes at Warren Street. Anyway, so
yeah, all right. Enough of Henry's puns. They're very bad. How have you been this week? You were telling me you're involved in a fire scare this week.
Yeah, a little bit of a, so I got a new podcast, The Football Boardroom, with Christian Purslow, ex-Liverpool
You weren't supposed to plug that.
No, I'm not, but I'm explaining. So anyway, we were in the podcast studios in central London, not too far from Warren Street, actually, and the fire alarm went off. And out of all these very sort of upmarket, high-tech, high-spec, bit like here, studio hutches, emerged the sort of the cream of podcasting royalty. Alistair Campbell, Ian Wright, who else was there? The former German Chancellor was there as well. Anyway, we all sort of stood around on the streets.
Chatting world events.
Chatting world events, good bunny, bad bunny, good cop, bad cop, and before we were allowed back in. But yeah, so the fire alarm was irrelevant, but I got back in and everything was fine. But yeah,
the German Chancellor came up and said, "Hello, Henry."
Former German Chancellor. Yeah.
Hello, Henry.
I wanted to talk about Germany's chances at the World Cup, but his idea of defence was a little bit different.
Anyway, I unbelievably got invited to the Sunday Times Sportswoman of the Year awards, so. Bit of an interloper at that one, I tell you. But the great and the good were there. Sharon Davis, Tanni Gray-Thompson, Ellie Kildun was...
And you had a good chat with the FA's...
Mr. Bullingham was there as well. We were having a bit of a chat with him.
How was he? Is he confident his football coming home?
I don't think he told me whether it was coming home or not, to be honest.
Do you think it is?
No. But there we go.
Talking of German legends, come on, Thomas.
Indeed. Yeah. Great and the good were there, as I say. Sharon Davis, Tanni Gray-Thompson, and we had a thoroughly good evening. And well done at Sunday Times.
And talking of Thomas
Tuchel... Hang on. Go on. Darts as well on Thursday.
What you love the
darts.
First
night of the Premier League. Brilliant fun.
Have you got your own little sort of area there, roped off Shaun VIP area? Were you really?
There was no Newcastle. Usually the Newcastle players go, but they weren't there this time. I think perhaps smarting from the defeat against Man City the night before, probably thought it wouldn't be a good look. But the Sunderland players were there instead. I've got to say, fair play to Robin Ruffs. He took all the banter when the Newcastle fans were giving him Sunderland goalkeeper, and he posed for so many pictures.
Good for him.
And he was on bottled water. He was right in front of me, and he left before the final, which was a bit of a shame for him because he was cheering on Gian van Veen and Michael van Gerwen, who were both Dutch. Who were both in the final, and he left beforehand.
So where was this?
Utilita Arena in Newcastle.
Right.
He left before the final.
And I assume he was absolutely packed. Everyone dressed up.
Well, not everybody dressed up, but it was packed.
Were you there was a bad bunny? Did you have your ears on? No. You've always got your ears to the ground.
He's absolutely ridiculous. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the place was rocking. It was a fantastic night, and Michael van Gerwen won.
And
Littler knocked out in the first round.
The Littler was on the pitch at
Old Trafford.
Yes. That trophy is huge.
It is a very big trophy, apparently very heavy as well. Apparently. Anyway, on to the back pages and
where do you want to start?
Posh papers, etc. I mean,
I enjoyed the French match. I thought France were fantastic. And then you come on to England, who Sunday Times, great picture by Mark Aspelin, the Sunday Times and Times award-winning photographer. Fantastic picture of Henry Arundel celebrating his hat-trick. I did text some of my mates who were there and said, can you declare in rugby union? Because England was so far ahead, particularly in that first half, finished 48-7.
It wasn't a surprise, the result. You did pose an interesting question before we came on air, is do you get to keep the ball if you get a hat-trick of tries?
In rugby? Well, we'll have to ask Kieran Bracken.
We will.
Because he will know these things. But it just, because it's such a big issue. You saw
whether you get the ball.
But you saw how Cole Palmer walked off very sort of nonchalantly, sort of juggling the ball, having got his first half hat-trick at the end of the Chelsea game. And you just think it's such a big thing. Do you remember when Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, got his hat-trick at Old Trafford? Steve McManaman took the ball into the room and got everyone to sign. He went and got the ball off the referee and said to Ronaldo, this is an English tradition. So I just wondered whether it was a rugby tradition.
I'll probably get told off for this, but is it not slightly easier to get a hat-trick of tries than a hat-trick of goals in football?
Oh, I don't know. With penalties? I mean, Cole Palmer got three penalties.
Maybe.
I tell you,
I don't know what started there.
Read out the text number for everyone still trying to get out of Twickenham. No, you're fine because you have your own VIP speedy boarding lane out of there.
I'm surprised you went to Twickers yesterday.
No, I watched
it.
I watched it before slipping into.
Well, I could only watch the first half, obviously, and then I had to watch a different game.
Yeah, and that was a different game.
That was a different game.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Mail on Sunday.
We've got some football.
Reckless Romero deepens Spurs' gloom from a game earlier in the day. Tottenham captain Christian, this is from Gilman Fallerton at the match. Tottenham captain Christian Romero was accused of letting his teammates down after his red card in the 2-0 defeat at Manchester United. He went flying in on Casemiro, and look, Argentina, Brazil, we know what it's like. But that was just reckless, naive, damaging.
And he'd had a lot to say for himself during the week.
I just wonder whether the Tottenham board were tempted to put out a post saying, disgraceful. That challenge. Because it was, look, he's now got a 4-game ban. I think they're now 11 players that got injured. One of the Tottenham fans forums did this sort of rather entertaining. Who would actually win out of Spurs' injured 11 against their fit 11? Because they got some very, Kulusevski, they're clearly missing Kulusevski, another player, Porro as well, players like him. But yeah, it was irresponsible. So this is referring to Danny Murphy's comments on Match of the Day, with Danny saying, it is irresponsible, especially after a week where he's been talking about recruitment and a lack of players. And he's now, he's let his teammates down. He's the captain, the leader. He needs to do better. Do you feel he should be Spurs' captain?
No, the fans have got this thing where he's a bit of a hero, isn't it? Because he speaks out. And
but not if you're in the stand.
Goals. But I sensed them turning slightly yesterday about him because he's causing them too many issues. Reckless is right, but I felt Frank let him off the hook a little bit. He could have said, that was ridiculous, I'll be having a few words with him, but he didn't.
Yeah, but managers throwing leading prominent players under the bus in the age of player power, I could understand why he didn't. He probably should have been a little bit better informed rather than being told by a journalist that he'd set or equaled the record for most Spurs players having a red card in the Premier League, because he is a bit of a serial offender. And also the suggestion is that he might be off in the summer.
Yeah, another person who might be off in the summer, on the back page of the Sunday Mirror, Mo Salah. I feel like this could be any week we could do this story. Saudi Salah swoop. Yeah,
Simon Mullock, very well connected, very experienced journalist, and he is saying on the back of the Sunday Mirror, as you say, the headline, Saudi Salah swoop. Mo Salah will be offered the chance to become the new face of the Saudi Pro League this summer. The 33-year-old would treble his £400,000 a week Liverpool wages if he accepts a proposal to bring down the curtain on his 9-year Anfield stay. And obviously there's an element of, is there doubts over how long Cristiano Ronaldo is going to stay there? Ronaldo is threatening to quit I had to read this about 7 times, is threatening to quit his bank-busting £3.35 million a week Al Nassr contract.
I know.
I think you must be tempted to stick with that for a while if you can.
There is an irony in him complaining that they're not investing, I must say.
Yeah, and I think this is all a bit of a sort of dance about how much investment comes from PIF to which clubs for next season. But absolutely, you can see why they would love Mo Salah over there.
Text and WhatsApp's already rolling in. Chris Pettswood says, being devil's advocate, when a player scores a hat-trick, considering how many balls are placed around the pitch, how does a player know he's got the right ball?
Well, it's a really good point, that. And there was a huge debate about the World Cup ball. And that
Which
is...
World Cup?
Well, sorry, 66, the World Cup ball.
We only had one ball in 66.
Yeah, exactly. And then there was a debate about where others used in the kick-in and what is a real World Cup ball. And, of course, these balls are worth absolute fortunes. If it is the hat-trick ball, but it can't be because it probably was 3 different balls that were used for the hat-trick. It's a good point.
This is anonymous. It's not player power, talking about Romero, it's media power. Players can do what they want and get sympathetic interviews like Rashford did.
Yeah, well, who's he pointing the finger?
I wonder.
Well, I plead guilty to that one. But look, if players want to get their message out, fine.
Use Henry Winter because he'll give you a sympathetic ear.
And Sean will give you sympathetic headlines.
And I'm a bad bunny. So
you're also a sports editor, so you've got that reach.
And Romero definitely let his team down, but that wasn't a red card.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a straightforward red card. I don't think there's even a debate about that.
Agreed. Coming up next on Sunday Edition, we'll look at yesterday's Premier League action.
just disrespectful. And how about you look at your own performances? I rate Romero. I do rate him as a defender. 5 goals this season as well. He's chipping in with his goals from centre half. But you haven't had the best of seasons. You cost your side on numerous occasions with poor defending. Just shut up and play football. Leave that to the manager to speak to the board about signings. It's none of your business. Fans will like it.
Captain.
Yeah, fans will like it. Okay, would you see an Arsenal captain come out and speak like that?
But Arsenal not in the same situation.
One of the things Thomas Franks said in that clip we just played is that Romero is ambitious. Can't have been that ambitious.
Well, he's won the World Cup.
He signed a new contract with Tottenham. If you're that ambitious, you don't do that. You back yourself to go and play for a big club. He was part of the team that finished 17th in the Premier League last year. He was described by our own Stuart Pearce as a liability in the previous meeting with Manchester United. He isn't that good a defender. I don't think he's that good a character. And I think he should have been stripped of the captaincy. This is not our captain of a Premier League football.
Rushes out to the right-hand side, has a man there, throws the interception at the 39-yard line. Returning out to numbers 25, 20, Cooper down to the 10, down to the 5, touchdown Eagles! He's got 2 blockers, he's going to go all the way, 10, 5, touchdown! And the rookie has picked off the superstar.
And it's a red card for Romero. He went in a little bit too heavy on Casemiro. Argentina on Brazil. And then Bruno Fernandes is there to stab it home at the Stretford end and secure all 3 points for Manchester United.
Scott Parker, what are you thinking now? Burnley 0, West Ham 2, and it's come from Valentin Costanelos.
Hat-trick Cole Palmer inside the first 37 minutes of this game. Wolves 1, Chelsea 3.
There was a stoppage in play. Everyone in the stands wondering what's going on. We've just seen a squirrel run all the way from inside the Bristol City half, and it went in the goal.
Bournemouth 1, Aston Villa 1. What a wonderful goal this is from the new signing, Ryan. Arsenal 3, Sunderland 0. Victor Gyökeres off the bench at the double.
Fulham 1, Everton 2. This is an embarrassment for the Fulham defence, in particular goalkeeper Bert Leno.
The left-footed strike at the Gallagher end to break Newcastle's heart. Brentford were brilliant, up to 7th. Newcastle 2, Brentford 3.
That is how the Premier League sounded on talkSPORT yesterday. And don't forget, we want to hear from you on the weekend stories. WhatsApp, voice note us on 03717 223344 and we'll play them out. Just before we played that kicker, Henry wanted to know why he's Good Bunny and I'm Bad Bunny. Yeah. And the reason is that it was Shabana and Tony Cascarino who christened us that before we came on air, so I just went with it. It's correct as well.
But sorry, why you was the bad one and I'm the good one?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to be Good Bunny. It'd be quite nice. But anyway, you're more interested in squirrels than bunnies, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. Hull, Bristol City. I mean, that was fantastic.
Squirrel stop play twice.
It is the whole squirrel. I mean,
it is the whole squirrel.
It is the whole squirrel. It's probably got its own Instagram page by now.
Is it often there? Is it?
Yeah, I think it's been seen before. Yeah, I mean, it's not quite as famous as the Anfield cat, which had an Instagram.
A cat. Yes.
That was the call. That was a game. I think it was at 2012 against Spurs. I mean, that was.
We
brilliant.
did that before. We did that at St James's Park. I've seen that one in action.
I was at Blackburn Rovers, obviously, when they were campaigning against Venky's, the poultry owners.
Chicken.
Yeah, chicken. Yeah. And I tweeted something about foul play. And it was because they released the chicken on the pitch because it was an anti-Venkis thing, which quite rightly is still going on because Blackburn Rovers fans, on a serious note, Blackburn Rovers fans have been so let down by the Venkis.
Yes, it is a bit of a mess. Anyway, on to some other aspects of yesterday's football. Man United 2, Spurs 0. Let's hear from both managers now, Michael Carrick and Thomas Frank.
It's a tricky one, Tom, man. You know, we've seen all sorts of different things happening from playing against 10 men over the years, and listen, the first goal is normally vital, you know, to get ahead. But I think it's just encouraging the expression and the attacking play, and not so much the enjoyment where you can do what you want and it's playground kind of flicks and tricks, but more playing with a purpose. But really, the confidence, you know. And listen, the first goal ends up coming from a really well worked corner. So there's different ways to get that goal, but the boys pulled it off really well. So there's different ways you can break teams down, but fortunately for us today, we managed to pull it off.
I think it was a good away performance, very even against Man United team in flow and playing with confidence. So happy with that. Of course, the red card changed the momentum. Then, of course, it's when we then did the 3 positive subs with 15-20 minutes to go, he scored straight after. And the red card is a red card. I watched it now back 5 times. You know, Kuti clearly tried to go for the ball. Unfortunately, just moved before, and then there's a red card.
Well, we've had our say really on Romero and his red card.
Bad bunny.
Bad bunny, very bad bunny, and Thomas Frank, as I say, let him off the hook a bit. But the performance from Man United and the performance from Spurs, pretty much what we expected. I know Spurs were down to 10 men, but they've been in poor form in the Premier League, and Man United have been in very good form.
Yeah, and Carrick obviously got his tactics right with effectively almost like two 10s playing there, and Spurs couldn't really deal with it. It confused their centre halves. There's something about the balance. Obviously the tactical balance has clearly improved under Carrick since Amarin left. Steve Holland's coaching, as everyone expected, was going to organise them. But I think he's just changed the mood. You know, he's just the mood around the players, the mood around the camp, the mood around the fans as well. There is that positivity. I mean, I'm sure Roy Keane will find something that's not quite right.
I'm sure he will.
Temperature of the tea at half time, sort of big issues like that. But, you know, Carrick is doing what he's been asked to do, which is just settle everything down. You see him in the press conference there, and he's in control. He's not giving anything away. He's not he basically approaches press conferences like he approached matches, sees everything in front of him, sees danger, picks it off, doesn't try to do anything spectacular.
But nothing stands out.
Nothing stands out as well,
exactly. which is terrible for back pages.
Which is terrible for back pages, but actually it's just what Manchester United need at the moment, because Ruben Amorim was great for back pages, but not for the 90 minutes.
Yeah, but I've got to praise them, and praise them as well for the fact the set piece came off brilliantly for the first goal in Buemos.
In Buemos, yeah.
It always makes me laugh, though, when teams celebrate the fact the set-piece move worked. Well, that's what you've trained for all week. It's supposed to work, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like defenders sort of celebrating a good block or whatever. Look, it's the modern world, and you have to accept that. But what was very significant, Carrick turning around to Johnny Evans, and it was obviously something that they've worked on.
Yeah, absolutely. Leeds beat Forest 3-1 on Friday night. Bournemouth drew with Villa. I think we can write Villa off as title contenders. Arsenal march on, 3-0 over Sunderland. Good win for West Ham at Burnley, wasn't it?
Huge win, that. I mean, I also thought the way that they played, I mean, Somerville obviously has been good for weeks. Fernandes driving through the middle, that lovely pass to Somerville. They're not so reliant on Jarrod Bowen as they have been. He's basically carrying them. And the goalkeeper was quite decent, we thought. Mads Hermansen stepped up. Because you've been very bad, Bunny, about Mads Hermansen.
You told me what a great goalkeeper he was. And he played one game and then he was axed.
But anyway, he was back in and he's
well done, man.
Solidified.
Fulham a bit unlucky, I thought, against Everton. An amazing first.
Wow. I mean, Pickford,
brilliant saves. But Everton, fair play. Possibly in the European shake-up, certainly for a conference place.
Dewsbury Hall.
Oh, you're not going to get into
No, I'm not. I'm just
the World Cup. He's playing well. He's found a home there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And playing really, really well.
James Garner.
He's not going to get there, is he?
Because England have got so many options in the centre. Yeah.
You can't. I mean, with the best one in the world, how many Everton players are you going to get going to the World Cup? Really?
Pickford.
That's it. You can't have 3, though, can you? In a squad of 25 or whatever.
Former Everton player, Calvert-Lewin. Do you think he'll...
No, we're still There's
Because
still
of
far
injuries,
too there's still far too long to go on that debate because you've got Solanke and all of that as well, haven't you? And Watkins, obviously. So,
well, sorry, who would you take?
I don't have to decide. I'm waiting to see how they do for the rest of the season. I'm not deciding now because we've been through this. Luke Shaw, for instance, you wrote off a few weeks ago saying, "Oh no, you can't have Luke Shaw." Now he's in great form and he's got a great chance of going to.
And
the World Cup.
Had 10 left backs since he last played.
And I saw you tweeting saying, "Oh, Luke Shaw, he's a good shout for the World Cup." You absolutely dismissed him a few weeks ago. Anyway, Wolves 1, Chelsea 3 was another result yesterday. And after the game, Liam Rossini gave his thoughts on Cole Palmer's performance.
He was outstanding from the first moment. He gets the credit for the 3 goals. I thought our first half performance was everything I wanted to see in my team in terms of our intensity, in terms of our quality on the ball. Disappointed in terms of the second half performance because I challenged the lads at half time. The last time they came here, they were 3-0 up and it came back to 4-3. I wanted us to go on, but in terms of what they're giving me, in terms of the amount of games we're playing, I'm delighted with the performance.
Yeah, Cole Palmer is back, so obviously he's going as one of the number 10s.
How many 10s?
How many 10s, yeah. We'll get into that debate again another time, I think. However, Liam Rossini is attracting some stick for the way he conducts press conferences. Other people sort of defend him, but it is divisive, isn't it?
Well, first I thought it was a strange issue to get rattled about the goalkeeping coach against Arsenal. The goalkeeping
training
coach
in the opposition half,
which I mean, it happens in every game, and I think Mikel Arteta sort of made that point in his apology. I really like Liam Rossini. You know, I mean, interviewed him at Hull, at Derby. I love his energy. You want to see good British English coaches step up. I think it's fantastic he's got a job like that. And look, was it 7 wins out of 9? Obviously the 2 defeats to Arsenal in the Carabao. He's got something about him, and you want a little bit of swagger, and probably Chelsea, Kings of the Kings Road and all that, they do like a little bit of swagger. I just think that sometimes you need to dial down the noise a little bit, have a little bit of humility, particularly when you're talking about a club like Arsenal with Arteta, who's clearly building towards the title. But maybe there's an element of that is Chelsea's approach. They like to be the disruptors. If you look at how Clear Lake have gone into the transfer market, they like to do things differently.
And maybe they do that, are they?
No, I don't think so. But I mean, maybe they looked at his character, and he is quite outspoken. And I do like that. But, you know, get a few more wins, get a trophy, and then throw the fireworks.
A few quotes that will get on the back page, unlike Carrick, of course.
Yeah, which I'm sure you
yes,
like.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do. I promise you we will get round to Newcastle 2, Brentford 3, but I haven't got time for it at the moment, fortunately. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT. Next up, we'll look at the Winter Games that got underway yesterday in Milan.
You don't mean that, man.
Okay, stop
man,
shouting,
let me get the out of here, bro. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Talking about my peoples and all that. It's hard to believe a black man and a white man. The cheated. Tell him to sue me so I can show the facts early. Because when the documentary and everything, the story come out, I'm going to show everything.
Fantastic.
I'm going to get all the people that know and all the people that's in the inside. He got people that in the inside of him. They're going to know. I don't, what? I don't about that.
I'm not a Fury fan.
I don't about it. I said we didn't want to bring him up in the first place. It ain't got to do with him.
Fair enough.
The you talking about?
And with that, he was out of there. How on earth do you reflect on that? What was he going on about?
Well, look, I mean, at the time, I was a little bit embarrassed because I thought the show's coming off the rails and it was a big show and Deontay Wilder's a big name, so I'm sitting there thinking I'm a bit embarrassed by it. Then I thought, he's a bit of a tit. And then I thought, is he on drugs or something, or is this theatrics? And then I just came around to the conclusion that he's not right. He's not well. And all this ayahuasca stuff it's probably worked in reverse. I thought it was supposed to make you calm and zen-like. Listen, I didn't provoke Deontay Wilder by asking him a question that he didn't want to answer. I asked him a question about something he'd said, not something I was trying to engineer into clickbait. He called Tyson Fury a cheat. He's sitting in England. Tyson Fury, in some people's minds, is a legend in boxing. And so you're sitting in England. I thought, not unreasonable. Someone else asked him the question, and he didn't like it.
This is Sunday Edition with myself, Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. Now, the Winter Games is underway with the opening ceremony taking place on Friday night, and you can watch every moment from Milano Cortina 2026 live on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus from 6th to 22nd of February. But the 6th is already gone, obviously. Joining us now to discuss the first day and look ahead to today's action in the Winter Games is former Team GB Olympian alpine skier Charlie Guest. Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Very good. Charlie, I'm hooked already. Watched loads of it yesterday, and I never thought I'd be saying this, but what about the speed skating? That was amazing. Lola Brigida, what a win.
Oh, do you know what? And I just think it's such a fantastic story, given everything going on in the world right now, to have a woman with her kid there, watching her win that medal, Italy's first gold of this Olympics. It's a good news, feel good story, and we love it.
And for the oldies, Gina Lollobrigida is her great aunt, I think, who was a famous actress.
Legend.
Absolute legend. And just seeing the whole story, her with her son, a mother to win an Olympic Games, to come back and do that was absolutely fantastic. Charlie, what else caught your eye yesterday?
Oh, yesterday, well, men's downhill in the alpine skiing. I know I'm biased being an alpine skier myself, but it was full of such action. It was down the Stelvio piste in Bormio in northern Italy, and it delivered. It's one of the toughest tracks on the World Cup Tour, and Franjo van Almen from Switzerland threw caution to the wind, skied his heart out, and I would say it was a surprise win after the bookies and everyone tipping Marco Odermatt.
Yeah, I loved it. Really enjoyed the downhill. It came a bit. Does it usually come that early in the event? Because you know when you have the summer games and the 100 meters is like the blue ribbon. It's like, oh, the men's downhill's on already, day one.
Yeah, it's already happened. I mean, it can move around in the schedule, but what the organisers really want to do, because you need to have training runs for downhill, and so just make sure that you have all of the time in the world to get those training runs done, so that you can always push the race back if you need to. But if you're getting everything done ahead of schedule, then it's always a win.
Charlie, the risks are extraordinary when you're hurtling downhill at that speed. I mean, just looking at some of your Instagram pictures, I remember when you came off when you were training in Sweden in 2014 and you went into a forest and then hit a boulder, and you posted a picture of you looking remarkably stoic on a stretcher, doing sort of thumbs up, having broken your back and then going back into it. Can you explain what some of the risks are and whether that actually just adds to the adrenaline?
Yeah, I mean, it is a sport where you just need to get from A to B around the gates, turns, blue and red poles as quick as possible. And so doing that, you reach speeds of, the men will in downhill reach speeds of over 100 miles an hour. And that risk it does draw you in a little bit, because to be fast around every single turn, you need to have that feeling of, I'm not entirely sure if this is going to work out for me. And that certainly is a draw, because it's very difficult to find that moment, but you absolutely know it when you do, because your run is just lightning quick. It all fits together, flows together. And to be honest, there's no feeling like it.
In terms of what sense? I mean, can you actually box off the fact that there is that risk? As you say, the men are going at 100 miles an hour. You're going at a flying speed, and I'm sure you sort of grew up sort of skiing at Aviemore and places like that where there are rocks, and you have to sort of develop that. But do you have to have a singular mindset, almost slightly mad in a way?
Yeah, and interestingly, I finished uni last year doing a degree in psychology, and I made sort of that injury process the subject of my dissertation. And what I found was that athletes in ski racing, especially in the women's side, that's who I interviewed, they really saw injury as just part of the sport. It was almost like, I know what the risks are. I know that this can happen to me, but if it does happen, it's absolutely fine. I'm strong enough. I'm resilient. And all of these sort of factors of being superhuman almost fed into the identity of being a ski racer. And the athletes loved that about themselves. And so I'd say actually that resonated with me, is that you know what might happen, and you know that you're strong enough to always overcome that. And we're seeing these incredible stories all around at the moment. I mean, Lindsey Vonn goes later today.
That'd be amazing if she won that after all the difficulties with her knee injuries, ACL problem. The other thing that's really struck me is we're getting pictures like we've never seen before. The drone that follows the skier down the hill, the pictures of big air is just incredible. It's brought an extra something, I think, to these games.
Yeah, I mean, and especially here on TNT, we've got absolutely everything across the board for everyone to watch at any time of the day. And I think especially the drone shot, it gives you an appreciation of the mountain, of the speeds, how the terrain maybe moves under the athlete as well. We've got a POV run, a point of view run that happens at the start of each race that we do. So you can really see what the athletes are seeing and how their legs are bumping around, especially in the men's downhill yesterday. The track isn't smooth. You still have to deal with all the ripples and stuff underneath. And it draws us closer to what the athletes are really feeling. Because I've never been at the top of big air jump, but oh my gosh, was it great to see it.
Scary. Don't really need a drone for the curling, but I've got to say I was hooked on that. I realise it's not really your thing, but once again, Britain doing really well in the curling, so I enjoyed that. 7 out of 7 for our mixed team. Really good. What's happening today then, Charlie?
Oh, well, we've got a lot on. We've obviously got women's downhill coming up shortly. We have Mia Brooks, one of Britain's teenage prodigies, coming in for the snowboards big air. She starts qualifying today. We have more curling with the mixed doubles with Bruce Mauer and Jen Dodds. They've gone 7-0 so far in their campaign. So they're unbeaten thus far, and they have already gone up against the likes of the USA and Canada. There's so much more. Andrew Musgrave goes in the 10-kilometre skiathlon. I mean, I'm actually losing count. There's luge on later. There's obviously skating, and there is team event figure skating.
Charlie, very quickly back on the downhill. Even though you're sort of competing against each other individually and collectively, is there an element of camaraderie because you are all aware of the risks?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you all travel around as a bunch all year on the World Cup Tour. You spend more time with your competitors on the tour than you really do with your husbands, wives, whatever, at home. So you really build bonds on training. You'll share tips even, because at the end of the day, you're heading down that piste on your own and you have to execute when you're going at those speeds and facing the challenges. And with the risky moments, with the jumps, there's a level of respect of, oh, wow, you pushed that, like, thumbs up, bravo, love that. Or, yeah, I felt the same way around that corner. And so you can really gel over those moments, like you say.
Winter Games I've got to say, is on my bucket list, Charlie. It's something I'd love to go to. Me and Henry are sort of steeped in football, very used to going around the world covering football. But you look at the Winter Games and you think, that would just be amazing to go to. No, I'm not aware people really go from Britain in their droves to watch it, but honestly, I've got to do it.
I mean, with it being in Italy at the moment, like,
yeah,
if you've got a gap in your schedule, your busy schedule, like, head out to Cortina, to Bormio. It's Dave Riding's last Olympic Games. It's his 5th one. He's our best British skier we've ever had on the World Cup Tour. And he will be racing at the end of the 2nd week. So if you can make it out for that, that is sure to have a great vibe about it.
Charlie Guest, thank you very much. Have a great day. Enjoy it. I certainly will when I get round to it this afternoon, or maybe tonight.
That's fascinating. I mean, did you watch the opening ceremony at the San Siro? How can they not? I mean, I know
the San Siro's terrible. It deserves to be knocked down. I hate the place.
Stunning.
It's not stunning.
It is common.
Why
Architecturally, it's stunning. Well, I don't know.
Oh, you're speaking from an architectural background.
Yeah,
I get
think
that.
It's absolutely beautiful.
I hate that ground. I hate
Why?
it. I hate the press box. I hate the pitch.
The pitch is better.
I don't like it. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a structural issue because the fans can't sit in one particular area because they were bouncing up and down. Oh, look, I get that, but I tell you what a moment when Baresi and Bergamo came out and then Bocelli sang. I mean, and those were just the bees that were there. I mean, that was...
Speed skating, as I say, was definitely the thing for me. What a moment that was yesterday. Don't forget, you can watch every moment of the Winter Games Milano Cortina 2026 live on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus until 22nd of February. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT, and next up, it's Best of the Best.
Let's go to Joe, who's a Liverpool fan. All right, Joe?
All right, Joe boy.
You all right, lads? How are you?
All right, mate.
All right, Joey, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I've gone for a left winger, and I've gone for this player because if it's not your night, he'll pick your pockets again and again and again, and it's the pub fruit machine.
Oh, the old fruit.
Mate, the back line, we've got a doorman, we've got carpet and a fruit machine. Mate, this is the stiffest...
He wants him as a left winger.
Oh, you said left wing? I thought you said left back.
Fruit machine, left wing.
Oh, he's not getting past anyone.
What, the fruit machine?
I mean, modern day wingers, you know, they're quite tall, lanky. I mean, look at Cody Gakpo, for example.
Yeah, but I wouldn't describe Cody Gakpo as a fruit machine.
I mean, you put your pocket.
You wouldn't, would you?
Oh, the slot machine.
Yeah, oh, the old slot. Oh, see, you might change. Yeah,
The fruit machine, though.
No, listen, I'm having him. I'm not sure he's a left winger, mate.
Well, yeah.
It don't strike me. If I said to you, who are you playing that wide left? And I said the fruit machine, you go, who's he getting past?
So where are we thinking for the fruit machine? Because I like it, I feel like the fruit machine needs to be in there because he's a staple part of a pub.
You stick him in front of the back four.
You want to play him CDM? Why? Because he's
always picking pockets.
Picking pocket.
There's a little bit of that going on.
So we got fruit.
He's not a left winger. The fruit machine's not left wing. I think here's what we need.
Right.
We need a little bit of. We need that. We need a little bit of movement.
We need a bit of.
So we've got right back the coaster.
We've got the coaster.
This is Sunday Edition live on talkSPORT. Don't forget, if you want to watch the show, you can. We're live on YouTube or your smart TV, so tune in there if you fancy. But now let's get an update from the T20 Cricket World Cup with Sam Allard as England take on the mighty Nepal. How's it looking, Sam?
Yeah, morning, guys. England winning the toss and choosing to have a bat first. England coming into this T20 World Cup in pretty decent form in T20 cricket, winning 11 of their last 13 matches. 1 ball left to the third over. England 27 for 1, so a steady start. The innings got off to a pretty poor start. Phil Salt going for just 1 run. The spinner Muller playing in his first ever World Cup game with a quicker delivery. The off spinner, which Phil Salt looked to flick into the leg side, got a leading edge. Ball went high in the air and it was well taken at short, fine leg. But Jacob Bethel came to the crease inside the second over, and after a dot ball, he then rocked back onto the back foot and cut a short and wide ball through the offside for a boundary, and then hit England's first 6 of the World Cup. Another shorter ball rocked onto the back foot once again, and a good pull shot over the leg side for a 6. So Bethel started pretty quickly. He's 15 from 6 shots. Butler at 12 from 10. Of course, it's a game of cricket that England will be expecting to win. But hey, Nepal in their third T20 World Cup, they did beat West Indies in a bilateral series last year, so let's not take them too lightly. 3 overs gone. Bethel's got 15, Butler's got 12. A steady start for England, who are 28 for 1.
I promise not to take them lightly, Sam. Thank you. Lots more to come on the show before we hand over to Max and Barry with the warm-up. Right now, it's time for this.
One of the greatest tries ever scored, but she won't get there. Kaylee Hodgkinson is the Olympic champion.
I'm going to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
Oh, Stephen Harmison, one of the great balls. Double 12! Oh, my word!
Best of the best on Sunday Edition.
I think I'm a special one.
I think he's done it! Yes! You beauty! Let's be having you!
On talkSPORT.
Yeah, this is Best of the Best, our weekly feature where me and Henry choose a different topic each week and decide what we think's best. Today we've gone for best pre-tournament stories, and the reason for this is, how can I put this? The story during the week about the Winter Games, which was that athletes may be injecting something into their bodies to make a certain appendage go a little bit larger, which help their aerodynamics as they fly off the ski jump.
Very, very delicately put.
Yeah. So we thought we'd look at our best pre-tournament stories, and of course, being mainly football reporters, me and Henry have gone for some belters in the football world, and I mean,
you go
there's loads. I mean, even before our time, let's be honest, Bobby Moore and the bracelet and the 70 World Cup was a bit of a belter. I wasn't there for the dentist chair in Hong Kong. Were you there?
Very much was.
You weren't there. You weren't in it. We heard from Tony Adams about the dentist chair.
I was in the bar next door. We were
you?
in a bar, yeah, we were in a bar called Joe Bananas. We'd sort of agreed with the players. They would go to the jump club and we would go to another one. And I didn't know anything about it.
Until the story broke back in England.
I landed back in the UK and went, oh, hello.
This, of course, was all about the England players getting on it a bit ahead of Euro 96, which Tony says galvanised them all. And Tony wasn't involved in it. He made the point last week, didn't he? That he
collective responsibility. Yeah, nor was Stuart Pearce, nor Gareth Southgate. Good bunnies and bad bunnies. They were
bunnies and bad bunnies.
That was very much split.
We know who the good bunny is, as you've just proved it again, Henry. You are a good bunny.
I was a bad bunny that night.
And Gazza in '98, were you in La Manga for that when Gazza was in?
Yeah, rearranged Glenn Hoddle's
room. I wasn't on that part of the trip. I was there for the World Cup, but not that part.
Come on, 2002. That was your finest.
2002. Henry finds this one really amusing. It was that England were on Awaji Island at the Japan South Korea World Cup, and there was a patrol ship off the island, and we sort of got the nod that these patrols were for the England football
because
team.
England's training went down to
right,
the waterfront.
Right down to the waterfront. And of course, it's not that long after 9/11. So one of the reasons we thought for these big patrols, we understood it. You need, and it was fairly isolated at Wedgie Island, to be fair.
And we thought the FA were trying to stop us watching.
And we thought they were using a gunboat. Then the rumour went round that actually it might be a nuclear sub that was patrolling. And I think we did the story. So
you did the first story about gun guard on England.
Me personally, yeah, I might have
gun guard on England.
Yeah.
And then the follow-up the next day was nuclear gun guard.
Nuclear gun guard on England. And the amazing thing about that is that nobody can prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Because actually, they never say where their nuclear subs are. So
yeah, we then asked the FA for a pitch to have a kick-about on, and they said, "We'll go and use this one." There was no gun guard on it, so we actually used the England training pitch for that. You played in that,
yeah.
Anyway,
was there a gun? There was no gun guard, but the nuclear sub may or may not have been there out in the waters. I think it probably was, to be honest, but nobody would confirm or deny it.
England deserved protecting. Can I throw in a couple that So I flew out to USA 94, checked into my hotel in Detroit, flicked on the TV, and there was a classic American car chase going along and police cars chasing after it. I thought, that's an interesting film. I'll see what's on the other channel. I went through all the channels, exactly the same film. And then I realised it was the O.J. Simpson news chase, which was being taken live. So O.J. Simpson was under suspicion of having murdered his wife, and he'd got O.J. Simpson, famous American footballer, had got into this, I think it was a Bronco, an actor, and had got into his car. He was in the back, he was being driven, and there was this chase through the sort of LA freeways with about 15 TV helicopters filming in, and people could see in advance that it was going to go past their house, and people were actually going and sitting on the sort of the hard shoulder in sort of deck chairs watching OJ. So I thought, well, how is soccer going to compete with this sort of
couldn't compete with that.
And so that day, I mean, Klinsmann scored the winner for Germany against Bolivia, Spain and South Korea.
This is day one.
This was day one, scored, I think the Koreans scored twice late on. So there was that. And I went on a Chicago radio station that night, and they opened all the phone lines to do a phone in. I thought, great, I can talk about soccer and Roy Hodgson managing Switzerland in the game tomorrow and whatever. And the first call was like John from downtown Chicago. And there was a pause, and he said, getting back to OJ. And I thought, oh, the beautiful game's still got a little bit of concrete to go. But it'll be different this summer because America's more in love with soccer.
You think it is?
Yeah, well, look, I work for Sports Illustrated, and they're very much.
No, I know you do, but they keep saying that. They've been saying it since 1978.
All the games will be sold out, despite
the prices.
And the England fans have rightly pointed out. I'm sure you asked Mark Bullen about this in midweek. The fact that England haven't taken their full allocation for the semi-final and the final, if they get there.
I do think we agree on that. The FA could be a little more vocal,
proactive, well, a bit more supportive of the fans, because the fans go home and away and they support the team, and they deserve to be supported by the FA at the right time. Do you want another one for me?
I do.
You're a 96. Skinner and Baddiel, famous
this
song.
Is a good one. Yeah,
Skinner and Baddiel. So they came up with this great video, The Lightning Seeds, with 3 lines video, and there's a bit in the back where they're in a car, and people zeroed in and looked closely and realised that the car that the FA had put up for the Skinner and Baddiel video, which is then going to go on top of the pops, the licence was out of date. So they thought, oh, this would be a real classic England scandal if they were having an unregistered car. And then there was another scandal. Someone looked closely because everyone was focusing on the 3 lions. They looked at the 3 lions on the shirt, and they said, a heraldic expert said, well, they're not technically lions. They're actually leopards, which back in the day, slightly before me, in the medieval ages, leopards and lions were intermixed for heraldic purposes. So one of the FA officials got the FA design department to slightly tweak the leopards to look more like lions, so that Skinner and Baddiel could sing more confidently about 3 lions on a shirt.
3 leopards on the shirt doesn't really...
And then we had an opening ceremony with knights on horseback digging up the Wembley pitch.
Go on, one more.
I mean, the orphanage one was 2010. Very quickly, Rio Ferdinand, your mate, I mean, that was shocking when he got injured on the eve of it. Michael Dawson got flown out. Michael, who I knew was actually sponsoring a kid at an orphanage with Tottenham Hotspur, very close to where England were based in Rustenburg. He went there with all the sort of media in tow, and the kids turned up not wearing a Tottenham shirt, not wearing an England shirt, but wearing a Manchester United shirt. So there was this extraordinary event where the kid had to basically do 3 separate photo shoots, this orphan kid. It was a very complicated
Why did
England
he have
story.
to be in a Spurs shirt then?
Because Spurs were sponsoring the orphanage.
Oh, Spurs was
and it was then an England event, so England and the FA wanted him in an England shirt. Tottenham obviously wanted him in a Spurs shirt, but he was a Manchester United fan and he turned up in a Manchester United shirt. But anyway, the photographer had come with medium-sized England shirts and medium-sized Tottenham shirts just to be on the safe side. But that is the world of England before tournament.
It is the world of England before tournament, so I'm still not sure they can hold a candle to that Olympic story this week.
No.
Unbelievable. Next up, the Six Nations got underway with wins for France, England and Italy.
Arnie was talking about style of play rather than trophies. It's great to win trophies looking good, but I don't think Liverpool fans will put up with not winning any trophies, or it'll be hard for them. You've got to win something.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And you know, with the money that they've spent as well, I mean, you've always got that thing which is you've got to win something. You rightly say. I think that with them is that, you know, good result against Newcastle. Yeah, take it all day long. But as I say, we're still looking at, you know, what's it going to be at the weekend. Whereas, as we know, with last year, it was like win, win, win all the time. And the thing about it as well, they've had lots of injuries, Liverpool. But listen, you know, it happens to everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Matt, where do you sit with Arne Slot? Obviously, doing really well in the Champions League. Looking to have maybe picked up a bit of form again. Where do you sit on it all?
He's one of those who's I think you know when you see his press conferences and you look at him, I think he talks a bit too much, which probably sounds ridiculous, but it's one. If you have to consider with the previous manager, who was obviously absolutely brilliant, and it's difficult in times to kind of follow him. But we won the league last year, and it's always difficult the next year to win the league again. And he's had that, but he's had lots of injuries. I just feel if you ask the majority of Liverpool supporters, they'll tell you that when he changes it, it doesn't exactly make it any better at the moment. So.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, In 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
Yeah, this is Sunday Edition with myself, Bad Bunny, Shaun Custis, and Good Bunny, Henry Winter. And a very good bunny is coming up later on. That's Tom Lockyer, who'll be talking about the Every Minute Matters campaign in the EFL. Somebody who's not too pleased with life is Ryan, who says, this is talkSPORT, and you've actually managed to talk about O.J. Simpson before Eddie Howe losing another game after spending over £700 million. I promise you, if I can, we will get round to discussing Newcastle-Brentford. Henry's keen on that one. But before we get round to that, we're talking Six Nations. France opened up on Thursday night with a 36-14 victory over Ireland. Italy beat Scotland yesterday, 18-10. And England absolutely trounced Wales, 48-7. And they're away to Scotland next weekend while Wales host France. Don't hold out much for their hopes. England speedster Henry Arundel grabbed the headlines with a first half hat-trick, and he talked us through the tries after the game.
I'd put it as a couple tap-ins, but you got to take them. Exactly. There's a lot of kind of internal work that goes into that. You know, the first try was chats with Fordy in the week about having a one-pass play and him and I having a connection. Whether it's just eye contact and him knowing that if you throw the ball, I'm ready for it. And likewise, the crossfield kick. And it's you don't want to be too loud about it. It's just like a subtle connection, and hopefully me and Fordy can build that and keep building it. And then the final one is just Dingers broke through, and it's give me the ball. I think I'll get there quicker than you. So I'm glad he heard me, and he's it was a good scanning from him to know that I'm there.
Yeah, very well done, Henry Arundel. Joining us now is star of Friends, winner of Dancing on Ice, but most importantly, a 2003 England World Cup winner, Kieran Bracken. Morning, Kieran.
Morning. I'm glad you said that. I always think, where's this going? No, it was. I'm sure you agree. It was a great weekend of rugby. I'm not sure you can call Thursday night a weekend of rugby, so that was a bit bizarre.
I know, that was weird, wasn't it?
But no, it was. Obviously, yeah. I mean, I understand because of the schedule with the Olympics, they wanted to make sure that they didn't clash. So I get it, but it was quite interesting. I was there for the game for England Wales live, watching it, and obviously watching the Ireland game, watching Ireland disappoint, which was, I don't know, a big fall from grace really when you see how fantastic they've been over the years, and they just look like they struggle with obviously a few people out. But the England game was fascinating. I think we did better in Wales last year over there. I mean, everyone's applauding the England team against this Welsh team, but the Welsh team were just diabolical. It was a hard watch. I actually, somewhere in my soul, felt sorry for Wales, and I was actually supporting them by the end. Come on, get a try. Just do something good. But it was hard to watch.
The thing with this result, Kieran, is it's probably about what we expected. England notched up to about the right amount of points, and Wales didn't lay a glove on them, really. And I know what you mean about Wales. Me and Henry certainly grew up in the dominant times of Welsh rugby, and it's painful to watch, isn't it?
It is painful to watch. I mean, I think they made it really hard on themselves, especially with their discipline. A lot of penalties against them, which meant they lost a lot of territory. But also they have, I think it's 4 yellow cards, and you just can't play with them. I think they had 13 men on the pitch playing for 20 minutes. 13 men on the pitch for 20 minutes. I mean, losing one person is a big deal, and games can be won and lost just on that. But to have so long playing with 13 men is just tough for them. So yeah, it was a tough watch. But interestingly, the strange thing is, I was at half time, I was thinking, wow, England have got a bench which is just so good. So, you know, a lot of players even better than the starting 15. They're going to come on and blow it away. So if there's any consolation, I mean, Maritoji came on for, I think, 3 seconds and then went off for 10 minutes. But the POM squad, as it's been called, they didn't have the impact that they have in the past. And in fact, it was actually a bit of an even game when they came on. So quite interesting that at least Wales, when they have 15 men, that they can hold out and they can do something. But where they go from here, I don't know. I mean, it's just a painful 8 weeks for them, 7 weeks for them in the Six Nations.
Kieran, it was interesting listening to Henry Arundel afterwards, and he spoke very sort of technically, sort of in depth and tactically about how he scored those tries, and yet he's got this just something that you can't teach, which is just this burning pace. Is that just like the perfect blend?
Well, you know, wingers come in all different shapes and sizes, and they all have superpowers, and they all have different strengths. When you look at some wingers, you know, for instance, Noah Kalori at Saracens, he's 6'5" and he's brilliant in the air. And then you have some wingers who are short and fast, and sort of Henry Arundel is one of those short, stocky players, but is absolutely lightning. I mean, lightning. And so when he gets the ball, he's going to round somebody. He's going to get round somebody. But some of his core skills aren't great. I mean, I think he passed one into touch. But when you've got a winger like that, all he needs is 2 meters either side of a defender, and he's gone. He's absolutely gone. But yeah, it's great to see. I mean, he's got a great try scoring record. I think he's played something like 12 games and scored 12 tries or something crazy. I know he scored 5 against Chile, so maybe that doesn't count. But yeah, I mean, when you've got burning pace, it is great to watch, and it's fantastic he's back from France and he's playing in England. So I mean, they've got so much strength and depth now. England have. They can pick any type of winger. I mean, Roebuck came in. Boso was injured, and Roebuck came in and did really well as well. So there's a lot of competition, which is one of the reasons why I think England are doing really well now. There's a lot of competition for places. I think a year or so ago we could name the starting 15 and that would be it. But now we can actually, if you think about it, George Ford has come in there, not even a Lions player over the summer when you've got 2 Lions players on the bench or not playing. Finn Smith not involved, Marcus Smith on the bench. So it's quite interesting to see this team led by George Ford now, which is very, very good to see. He's I don't know how old he is. He's maybe 48. I'm not sure he looks a lot younger. But he looks fantastic, and the team are gelling around him, and so they're looking in a really good place. However, I do think they left quite a few points out there, and especially in the last 20 minutes.
Kieran, does Henry Arundel get to keep a match ball?
We don't do that in rugby. That's quite funny you say that. I see that in football all the time, where they go and get the ball out of the net or whatever at the end of the game and they walk off with it. No, it doesn't happen in rugby. I've never seen someone score a hat-trick and go and grab the ball. I mean, yeah, I mean, my son plays wing. I think he scored a hat-trick in the 20s. I don't think he tried to get the ball. No, it doesn't happen. And I think it should happen. You're right. It should happen. The other thing is, though, the ball that you end up with is definitely not going to be the ball you scored the tries with, because there's about 20 balls around the pitch. So when someone kicks it into touch, it takes about 5 minutes to find the ball.
But that's the same with football. But it's a lovely tradition that he gets taken into the dressing room and the other, the teammates sign it.
Yeah, no, it does. Honestly, it definitely doesn't happen in rugby. I'll be intrigued, to find out if Henry Arundel went and got the ball, but no, it doesn't happen. We're a team sport, you see, not an individual sport.
You haven't got the money.
Exactly.
Do you think fans and the player himself, young Mr. Pollock, are going to get frustrated if he doesn't get to start games?
I think he's enjoying his role at the moment. I think he loves standing on the side of the pitch, walking up and down and getting the crowd riled. I mean, he scored that. It was quite funny though when he scored that try, which wasn't a try because his feet were out, and it was that moment where it was obviously Pollock was going to score a try, wasn't he? He gets up and he shushes the crowd, and I was thinking, why are you shushing the crowd? It's your own crowd, which is quite funny. And then he's running back and he's giving it the big one, and then the big screen comes up and it says, "Right, your feet are in touch." It was a penalty try, so it won't go down as his try, which is hilarious. But I think it's fantastic to have a character in rugby. We're all crying out for characters, and he's a character, and it's great to see.
It's all building up to England-France, is it? Or France-England, as it will be?
Well, it is. Do you know what? The game of the weekend was a game that I only saw the last few minutes of, and watching Italy against Scotland was the game to watch for the weekend. Obviously, the Thursday night, the Ireland game was a bit disappointing to watch. But the Scotland game, really interesting. I mean, Fabien Galtier for the French game had some really seismic decision-making in his selection. The main job of a coach is to select well, and he dropped Pinot, the winger, who's an incredible player, and he dropped him, and it worked out. The winger scored and played very well. But at the weekend, there was a massive call from Gregor Townsend. Now, as you know, Townsend is in the press a lot at the moment because it's really weird. It reminds me of Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones, when he was coaching England, he had all these different roles with all these different companies and consultancy roles. And Gregor Townsend has got this, let's call it, consultancy role at Red Bull Newcastle. And I think he's taken his eye off the ball, really. He's obviously got a lovely contract down the road with Newcastle Red Bulls, and meanwhile Alan Dickens has been doing a fantastic job with half the salary cap of everyone else, and they've built quite a few wins on the trot and done really well. And suddenly, Gregor Townsend comes in as this consultant, which is a strange thing to allow. I mean, how Scotland Rugby allowed it in the first place, but I find it staggering that people like Red Bull look to someone like Gregor, who hasn't had that much success. I mean, we're all waiting for the success he talks about. The only success I guess he's had is he keeps beating England every now and again, and it'll be interesting this weekend how he goes. But he dropped a couple of Lions players, Kinghorn and Van der Merwe, for the weekend, and went to Italy and lost in Italy with those massive selections and with this Red Bull hanging over his head. Has he got a contract, a pre-contract post-World Cup or not? Well, it's very disappointing, because how Scotland have allowed that to happen, and why Red Bull would go for someone like him who hasn't had any success. So and Dickens doing very well. So I find it bizarre, but next week is going to be one hell of a week because if Gregor Townsend doesn't get a win against England, I'll be interested to see if he'll keep his job for the World Cup.
Whew. Sounds like you're looking forward to England giving Gregor a bloody nose next weekend, Kieran. I mentioned at the start that you're a winner of Dancing on Ice, so are you keeping a critical eye on the ice skating in Milan? That's what I want to know.
Do you know what? I turned it on last night when I got back, and I was watching. I think it was like the teams one, which was absolutely incredible. And there were a couple of moves I could do, like one or two moves I could do, but it's the ice dance. It was to watch them do what they do is incredible. But the body's over with now. But I've got no chance of doing any of that. But it's quite interesting, isn't it, watching the Olympics at the moment?
Certainly is. Kieran Bracken, rugby and ice skating expert. Thank you very much. Hope to talk to you a bit more later in the Six Nations campaign. Thanks, Kieran. Next up, we'll give an update on a campaign we followed since the start, the National League 3-Up campaign.
I mean, arguably, Crook, it could have been a lot worse than this, couldn't it? We thought it might be. This was an additional charge. There was an additional charge for a failing of an obligation to provide full, complete and prompt assistance to the Premier League. Let's be clear. They tried to use a loophole to stop getting an earlier points deduction when they were in the Premier League. Leicester said it was disproportionate, but did they get off lightly?
Yes. And I think Leicester as a football club have been punished for trying to wriggle out of things by trying to use, as Simon Jordan described, the sort of black hole where they were neither a Championship or a Premier League club in order to dodge the charges. They've caught up with them in the end. I know the Premier League were pushing for as many as 20 points to be taken off Leicester, which pretty much would have resigned them, I think, to League One football next season.
Will they appeal the Premier League that this isn't harsh enough, the punishment?
Well, that's an interesting question because I don't think Leicester will appeal. And maybe risk a further point deduction. I think they should feel they got off lightly. But just looking at their statement, and a lot of Leicester fans have picked up on this, it probably tells you where they're at as a football club. There was no real contrition from Leicester. They're still trying to play the victim for the fact they breached PSR rules to the tune of nearly £21 million. They've brought a lot of this on themselves. They've made bad decision after bad decision. They've hired and fired managers with too much regularity. They've sold players, but replace them with players who aren't up to standard. And that's why we're now in a situation whereby on the 10-year anniversary of Leicester winning the Premier League, defying those odds of 5,000 to 1, 10 years to that very day is the last day of the Championship season. They could find themselves in the third tier.
But hold on a second here. This all unravels.
Rushes out to the right-hand side, has a man there, throws the interception at the 39-yard line, returning out to numbers 25, 20, Cooper Sheen down to the 10, down to the 5, touchdown Eagles! He's got two blockers, he's going to go all the way, 10, 5, touchdown! And the rookie has picked off the superstar!
This is Sunday edition. Time for an update at the Cricket T20 World Cup. England v Nepal with Sam Ellard.
9 overs gone. England winning the toss, batting first. It's 75 for 3. England got off to the worst possible start. Phil Salt going cheaply for 1, but Buttler and Bethel put on a good partnership for the second wicket, taking the score from 5-1 for 1 to 43 for 1. Josh Buttler raced on to 26. He was in pretty good touch at the top of the order, but then Yadav, the right arm seamer, bowled a really good ball to Buttler to get him for 26. The length ball just outside. Butler's off stump. He looked to push the ball through the offside. A little bit of extra pace off the pitch to the outside edge of Butler's bat. He went for 26. England, after 6 overs, completing the power play at 57 for 2. Jacob Bethel hitting the only 2 sixes of the innings so far, both off the off spin, and Mala short balls which he rocked onto the back foot, pulled the ball over the leg side for 6s. He's 34 from 20, looking in good touch. England lost Tom Banton just outside the power play. Lamishane, the leggy, getting Banton for 2, looking to reverse sweep, hit on the pad and was trapped LBW. The captain, Harry Brook, has just come to the crease. He's 10 from 10. England's run rate at the moment, just 8.5 runs in over, and Nepal have got 3 wickets. 9 overs gone. Brook's got 10. Bethel's got 34. England 76 for 3.
The New England Patriots are back in the Super Bowl.
Nobody really believed in us and you know, what we can do.
Touchdown, Patriots! I tell you, that guy right there, Drake May. Pass it back, baby. We gotta go win one. And a new era of Patriots football.
Everybody's journey to this league looks a little different. Just like everybody's journey to the Super Bowl looks a little different.
Touchdown, Seahawks! JFN!
Whatever it takes, you know, for us to get the job done, you know, I'm going to do.
10-5, touchdown, Rashid Shaheed! The Seahawks take it 96 yards all the way for a touchdown.
Oh, here we come, man. They doubted us all year. We in the bowl, man.
It's a rematch with the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara.
Yeah, the Super Bowl is tonight, and talkSPORT will be live from West Coast, bringing you the action as the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks go head-to-head for the Vince Lombardi Trophy. We'll have live play-by-play commentary from Levi Stadium of the sport's biggest spectacle. You'll also be able to watch our commentary team calling the action live on the talkSPORT YouTube channel as we bring the NFL season to a close with a matchup you don't want to miss. Patriots v Seahawks in Super Bowl 60, live on talkSPORT tonight from 11 o'clock. Will you be watching, Henry?
Yeah, Seahawks by 10.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Where did you get that hat? Where did you get that hat?
I don't know. It's just been hanging around here.
However, more importantly, this morning, Shabana and Tony Cascarino christened us Good Bunny and Bad Bunny. I was made Bad Bunny, but Henry's very upset because he thinks he's a Bad Bunny too, but you can only have one.
So Bad Bunny is...
Bad Bunny, Mr. Bunny is doing the halftime show. That's why we're talking about Bad Bunnies and Good Bunnies. He does the halftime show at Super Bowl, which of course you'll be staying up for.
Well, El Porto Bonito, which I actually thought was something to do with football. It's one of his songs.
I have to admit, even though he's the biggest selling rap artist of all time or whatever he is, I'm not particularly familiar with Mr. Bunny's
How's
work.
your Spanish?
It's okay, but I couldn't say I could speak it fluently. Don't test me on it. Anyway, sorry, you're never going to be a Bad Bunny, I'm afraid. Now then, enough of that nonsense. Henry will be up very late.
Hangs a tail.
Henry will be up very, very late tonight watching all of that. I think I might have to go to bed. Now, next up, 3-Up campaign topic. A meeting next month with all 72 EFL clubs will discuss the possibility of introducing a third promotion place from the National League. EFL clubs meet March 4th to 5th. Though it's understood no formal vote will be held then. Currently only the National League title winners go up automatically, while a second club earns promotion via the playoffs. And the National League launched its 3-Up campaign a year ago, urging the EFL to introduce that third promotion place into League Two from the 5th tier of English football. Henry, you're a staunch campaigner of this, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I think it's only fair. I think if you look at the quality of the National League clubs, the fact that you look at the journey that Wrexham have been on in recent years, everyone said, well, how far are they going to go? And they stepped out of National League and made that step. I think it makes it fairer. Obviously, some of the EFL clubs will look at it and think, well, you know, turkeys and Christmas and that sort of voting procedure. But then some of them have been down there, and if it makes it easier to get back up. I mean, I also look at it from a player perspective, and you think of the players who could be going. with England to the World Cup, and the fact that non-league played a part in their development. Obviously, you've got the sort of, that super academy kids like a Phil Foden and players like that. But you look at a Nick Pope, you're a Newcastle fan, the journey that he went on, Harrow Borough. Dean Henderson spent time on loan at Stockport County. Aaron Ramsdale, Worksop Town. Tyrone Mings as well, probably out of the England equation, but, he was indebted to Yate Town and Chippenham Town as well. Dan Burn, your beloved Dan Burn, who I still find it slightly surprising that he's in the England equation, but Tuchel loves him. Blythe Town, Blythe Spartans, Darlington, all important in his development. Ollie Watkins as well, Weston-super-Mare. I mean, going back in time a little bit, Jamie Vardy, how important he was. Callum Wilson's out of the frame now, but Jarrod Bowen, Hereford United. I'm just making the point that non-league is important.
It is, of course, it's important. I love watching non-league. And the MP for Hartlepool, Jonathan Brash, joined Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Gabby Agbonlahor on Friday morning, and he gave his thoughts on the proposal.
Well, because I think it's just about basic fairness. You've already said it's the only place in the entire football pyramid where you don't have three teams at least going up, and I think that's a really big deal for a lot of clubs in the National League. It's not fair. It is simply about making us play on the same pitch as everybody else. Basically, it's a real win that the AFL are prepared to discuss it. But I think they need to go further. I think they need to implement it now, because everybody agrees. All 72 National League clubs, football fans, the National Football League, everybody agrees with this. Jeff Stelling's on board. We just have to get it done. It's a sensible change.
Of course, Hartlepool have quite a bit of skin in the game, do they not?
Yeah, absolutely. But I just think that it's just fairer if you have three up. It reflects what happens elsewhere.
Now, very helpfully, producer Connor's just told me, haven't got time to get Newcastle in this section. Who knows if we'll ever get round to that defeat against Brentford. Meanwhile, on we go. This is Sunday edition on talkSPORT with Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. EFL games kicked off a minute later this weekend for the Every Minute Matters campaign. Next, we'll hear from Bristol Rovers defender Tom Lockyer on the initiative.
You can believe what? Why is it so hard to believe a black man in a white man? Understand me? Why is it so hard to believe a black man in a white man?
Why you don't believe it?
Why is it?
Let me answer the question.
Yeah, go on.
So we can go there.
First and foremost, it's got nothing to do with colour.
No, it does. This whole country got some. This whole world got something to do with race. You think you pan out? You think you have a? You think you done had a great life? You think your life has been like mine?
How is Derek Chisora then, out of curiosity, given he's a black man, a national treasure in this country then? It's not about colour. You called somebody a chick. I asked you a question.
Oh, come on. You have a whole lot of black people around
the question.
Thank you.
Stop, bro. You like the question. All right, I moved on.
Stop it.
I moved on.
Man, come on, man. Y'all can't tell, man.
So the bronze bomber, there he is.
Yeah, so come on, man.
Come on, we can have a disagreement, can't we?
Life, as a little boy and I bet your view as a little boy is totally different than my view as a little boy. Most black people, why we so into it with each other, because we have PTSD. We done been through so much.
You wanted to move on, right?
Come on, man. It's hard to move on when you don't know the truth, and that's when I come in and try to give you a vision, a little insight of what we go through as black people, man.
I got it.
You know, you don't get it.
Well, okay.
None of y'all get it.
Where do you want me to go?
Y'all don't get it. And that's the problem. You think you get what you don't understand.
Okay.
Why is it so hard?
Pull it back into the fight. Let's talk about the fight.
It's hard to put it back. I'm from the South. You understand?
Come on, let's pull it back into the fight.
It's hard.
This is Sunday Edition live on talkSPORT with myself, Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. We're with you till 11 o'clock this Sunday morning. Now, the British Heart Foundation and Sky Bet have teamed up with the EFL to highlight their Every Minute Matters campaign. 36 EFL matches across all 3 EFL divisions have shifted kick-off times by 1 minute to highlight the power of life-saving CPR. Sky Bet will donate £1,000 for every goal scored in Heart Month to the British Heart Foundation and help fund vital life-saving work. And during the week, I spoke to former Luton Town and Wales defender Tom Lockyer, who now plays for Bristol Rovers. Tom has had 2 cardiac arrests on the field play and is now an ambassador for the Every Minute Matters campaign. I started by asking him what happened in the aftermath of his first cardiac arrest.
I think when something like that happens to you, you almost have a different perspective on life and you start appreciating the little things a little bit more. So, yeah, I'm doing really well. It takes a lot to get me down nowadays. So, yeah, I'm always happy.
I hesitate to say this, it sounds a bit churlish, but when people come up to you and keep saying, "How are you, Tom?" do you get a little bit fed up with it, or are you okay?
No, of course not. I mean, people are interested and, curious and that's amazing, like the more conversations around heart health and health in general that we can have, the better. It's it's a brilliant campaign that we've got running and people are interested in it, and rightly so.
You've been involved in the campaign. I remember us talking to you last year about it as well. What are you hoping to get out of it?
We want to try and change the odds. The odds at the minute are shocking. So if I told you 40,000 people each year in the UK alone would have an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, but less than 1 in 10 would survive, less than 10% of them would survive. So 40,000 people, less than 4,000 of them would survive. For me, in modern day society, in a progressive country with all the technology and medicine and science that we've got, them numbers are staggering. And that's purely down to the fact that not enough people know CPR. So this campaign, the Every Minute Matters campaign, is absolutely brilliant. We're so lucky Sky Bet, the British Heart Foundation, and now the EFL have got on board. So February is Heart Month, and we're trying to get 500,000 people learning CPR. We've got 450,000 already, so we need another 50,000, and we're doing that by, once you've learned CPR, we're asking you to share your heart, which is take a selfie doing the heart emoji, which I think Gareth Bale made famous, just like that, and try and get other people learning CPR, because you can learn it for free in just 15 minutes on the British Heart Foundation website. So really, there is no excuse. Being on this journey, that a lot of people have reached out who've had similar incidents and have had cardiac arrests, and the one thing is that a lot of people struggle mentally more than anything. So I spoke to someone not so long ago who had a cardiac arrest in his sleep, and for so long he struggled with going to sleep. He said mentally it really affected him. He found it so hard to put his head on the pillow at night, and rightly so. There's scar tissue and memories that last there. But I think being in professional football, I was able to compartmentalise a lot better than the ordinary public would be able to. I've almost just put that in the box, yeah, it's happened to me, but it's not going to define me. If anything, I'm going to take the positives from it, not the negatives. And I can't sit here and say it's all been plain sailing, because there has been times where I have struggled, but on the whole, I think I have coped with it really well. And not until that first game back where I felt there was a lot of pressure, because I thought there would be a lot of eyes on me. There'd be a lot of people taking note of, oh, he's back playing football again. And just to get through that first game was a relief more than anything. And since then, I've been okay. I know if I felt in any sort of risk, I wouldn't be stepping back on a pitch.
You're now back at Bristol Rovers, a club that's pretty close to your heart, shall we say. And it's been a bit of a struggle this season on the pitch, but can you still enjoy it while you're battling against relegation, I suggest?
Oh, it's been hard. Yeah, no, it has been hard. After what happened to me, I always like to see the positives and be happy and enjoy the little things. But that doesn't take the fact away that, I'm a winner and I love winning and I hate losing. So it has been really hard getting back into it. But I have been able to, bring a little bit of like realism, or a little bit something like a different set of eyes to it. It's not the end of the world when we lose a game. I know it feels like that, but really it's not. But we've had a good couple of last results which have really helped the mood in the camp. It's been a very busy January transfer window, which was probably needed, and hopefully we can kick on from here and start winning some games and really enjoying it.
And how are you feeling about Wales and the World Cup?
Oh, just everything crossed. Such a proud Welshman. I absolutely love what Craig Bellamy's done with the team. The transformation from the last manager has been amazing. It makes me really, really proud to be Welsh, and I love seeing what they're doing. So, got everything crossed for them. I really hope they can get there.
Right. Yeah, that's not very good, is it? My heart celebration. Tom Lockyer is a brilliant spokesman for the Every Minute Matters campaign. Obviously, he's very invested in it for what happened to him. But, I see a future for Tom in the media game. If you want somebody to promote a campaign, Tom Lockyer's your man.
Yeah, absolutely. In the media, or also maybe working for the PFA and talking to younger players. I mean, it's remarkable. He's played 14 times for Bristol Rovers this season. And also, he's playing for a manager in Steve Evans, who was basically warned. I mean, Steve doesn't live too far from where I do in the East Midlands, and I went to see him just when he had that remarkable. I think it was a story that Sky covered, the remarkable weight loss, and he'd gone to see a consultant and said, "You are in serious trouble. Obviously with the pressure on your heart. If you don't lose some weight." And he went and got in the gym and got fit, and he looks good on it. Steve Evans and Tom looks fantastic as well there.
Just to point out that interview was done before yesterday when Bristol Rovers actually lost 3-2 at home to Chesterfield. Don't think Tom was playing in it though. But they are in a little bit of a battle at the bottom. Should stay up. Very well done, Tom Lockyer. Well done for the EFL for this campaign. Sadly, we've still got a bit of time in this section, which means we've got to talk about the game I've been avoiding. Newcastle 2, Brentford 3. Horrendous week for us, Henry.
Fair result yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, Brentford could have had claims for another penalty of their own, but then Newcastle were unlucky with the penalty we got against us. However, overall, I don't think you could dispute, really, Brentford deserved it. And Eddie Howe, hot on sleeve yesterday, admitting he's not doing a very good job.
Well, he was saying that he's used to dealing with pressure. No one puts more pressure on himself. Look, I think both of us are Eddie Howe fans, and there are issues there, but the majority of them are not of Eddie Howe's making. I mean, he could do with more support from the top. You could have a debate about the recruitment. I mean, I think if you offered, what was it in the end, £130 million for Alexander Isak, particularly if you look, his injury record was known before. It
wasn't really Eddie's decision in the end. It was Isak's decision.
Well, he wanted to go.
Really
I know, but I think Eddie Howe actually handled it well because it was a distraction. It did scramble your pre-season, and you can't turn down that sort of money. You can then have a debate about Voltemado and Visser, but Voltemado, when he turned up, everyone's thinking this is absolutely fantastic.
Well, it's interesting you should say that because Dave Brown WhatsApps to say all these Newcastle journalists who are basically saying Uli Hoeneß, that's the overlord at Bayern Munich, was talking rubbish when he stated that Newcastle were paying over the odds for Voltemada. Are they man enough to admit they were wrong and he was right? Personally, I didn't offer an opinion one way or the other, whether it was right or not, but Hoeneß was pretty strong, saying you've paid too much. I mean, they missed out on him, so perhaps he was feeling a bit bruised.
They expected German players to come to them.
But there's no doubt that Voltemada has not played well in the last dozen games.
He had a very good European under-21 championship.
Yeah, you keep banging on about that. But
it's a step up. Yeah, but
I know you watched it.
He'd had a good season. He was heading into the German. He was heading into the senior team. You're saying that Nagelsmann and the senior team are bad judges. Look, I think the first sort of month he had, he looked the part. I think, but genuinely there are issues with some of the spending, but it is not the deepest squad. And you've got to have sympathy with Eddie Howe. But also, if there is this not movement, if there are utterings in some quarters about, let's move on from Eddie Howe, who steps in?
Well, no, I get all that, but I think there is a feeling that Eddie gets an easier ride, say, than Thomas Frank, because Eddie's delivered us a trophy, you see. But Thomas Frank has a lot of injuries, but
11.
Tottenham have qualified for Champions League already, and they've done really well. But Eddie possibly escapes criticism until he's put it on himself yesterday. He tried something different, which was unusual from yesterday. He actually put 2 players on at half-time, which he's tended to be fairly predictable about when he makes his substitutions. 2 changes at half-time. Quite shook it up a bit. At one point, I'm sure we were playing 4-4-2 with Visser and Voltemada front together, which I've actually quite fancied seeing, but it didn't last very long.
But that kind of makes sense because Voltemada is more a 10 than a 9, and there should be a sort of balance there. How much did you miss Anthony Gordon?
Not much.
Really?
I don't think Newcastle fans are that fussed whether he's in the team or he's not.
Really?
Honestly.
He doesn't give you that blinding pace out on the left that helps?
Not particularly.
Right.
I don't think...
He's not got a great...
He's not got a great assist and goal scoring record this season, but Eddie, the point is Eddie wants him when he's fit.
Yeah.
But he only wants him out on the left wing or down the middle. He's not as versatile, I suppose, as Harvey.
So are you saying Thomas Tuchel has got it wrong, wanting Anthony Gordon to play on the
we
left?
don't know that Anthony Gordon is going to the World Cup, do we?
Don't you think?
Assume it, well, I don't know. But form changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you can say that about any player.
The fact is,
come on.
Has he done enough this season?
He has been a Tuchel favourite.
He has, but has he done enough this season for Newcastle? If you just started from this season, says who should be in your England squad, do you think he's done enough this season to warrant a place?
I think Tuchel will look at what he's done for him.
Do you think he's done enough?
I think he's dipped a bit.
Yeah.
He's still a good player.
He's a good player, but he's not been doing it this season.
You sound
anyway,
like
he
someone
says
who's
he's not bothered about it.
You sound like someone whose wife's about to leave them, and you think, well, they're not good enough anywhere, and I'm not going to miss them.
Do I really? Where do you get that from?
Well, is he good? Well, you obviously don't rate Anthony Gordon.
I just don't think he's been as good as people says.
So what you're saying is there's a good player in there, but he's not showing it at the moment.
I'm not convinced.
I'm convinced with him as long as he's not playing against Liverpool when it tends to go to his head.
For me.
So you think Rashford will start?
I don't know who will start. I'm only in February, so Anthony Gordon's got a chance to make his pitch for a starting place, and so's your mate Rashford. But right now, Anthony Gordon wouldn't justify a start, but he is injured at the moment, so it's a bit of a tough argument. Anyway,
bad bunny.
I am a bad bunny. You're a very good bunny because you're supporting Anthony Gordon. You're listening to Sunday Edition, and to finish, we look at today's Premier League games with Liverpool v Man City closing the weekend.
Let's focus on Chelsea. Liam Rosenior back pages again. Rosenior hits out at Arsenal. Chelsea head coach accused the opponents of disrespect for disrupting his side's warm-up before the cup tie.
I wouldn't come out with that, me.
I guess he was asked about it.
Bat it away, use your brains, use your head. Say, mate, what's your point? You saying that costs the game? Nah.
He got a bit excited, didn't he? Really, you saw if you've watched the video, I'd love to see how far onto their side of the pitch they were, because they didn't pan round, did they? They just showed him giving a bit to somebody. You didn't see who it was at. You didn't see how far they were into there. If they're right in their half and they're constantly doing it, then I get it. I understand it, but still, it's just calm it down.
Rosenior mentioned that it could be mind games, though. Do you believe that the Arsenal players were creeping into that half to get in their heads, or was it just a genuine?
They've done the job either way. They've got in their head either way.
Well, now he's talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Arsenal were favourites to win that game for me. Why would you? Nah. Maybe you might say, look, you know the rules, stay in your own half, but nah, I I think we're looking at a big problem here that's not a problem.
Yeah, I don't think they need to resort to doing that, Arsenal.
Yeah, he said in the interview, I've never asked my team to approach on the opposition's territory. I didn't think it was right. Where they were operating, they were affecting my lads' sort of warm-up. What's your thoughts on Rosenior?
I'm still a little bit waiting for it, to be honest with you. The results are ultimately going to be the thing that dictates.
This is Sunday edition. Time for an update from the Cricket T20 World Cup. England v Nepal with Sam Ellard.
Into the 16th over. England 137 for 5. Nepal have just taken 2 wickets in the space of a couple of overs. Irie, the spinner, taking both of them. He's just bowled Sam Curran for 2. And in his previous over, he got Jacob Bethel for 55. Jacob Bethel, though, playing brilliantly for his half century, becoming the youngest Englishman to get to 50 in a T20 World Cup. He tried to go down the ground off the off spin and mistimed the shot. Went high in the air and was caught out long gone. He played beautifully. He put on 71 runs from 44 with Harry Brook, the England captain, for the 4th wicket partnership. Harry Brook is still with the crease unbeaten on 46 from just 26 balls. Will Jackson, the new batter, who's just come to the crease as England look to rebuild another partnership after losing 2 wickets in 2 overs. Jack's yet to get off the mark. Harry Brook unbeaten on 46 into the 16th over. England 137 for 5.
Check out the latest talkSPORT Daily podcast, which asks, has Pep Guardiola still got the Midas touch? Manchester City may be through to the League Cup final, but they've won just 1 of their last 6 Premier League matches. Ollie Klink is joined by talkSPORT's man in Manchester and former Sunderland fullback Mickey Gray. Listen on the talkSPORT app or wherever you get your podcasts. And to add to that, make sure you listen to yesterday's talkSPORT Daily as well, as it was our interviews with Arsenal and England legend Tony Adams from last Sunday.
Yes, a brilliant interview it was too. Tony was brilliant. Just on Newcastle, who we were talking about before the break, Ryan's on one. He says, Henry, I'm sorry, but that's an absolute cop-out from you. Any other manager would warrant criticism, but Eddie Howe deserves sympathy. Your bias towards English players and managers is compromising your integrity as a journalist.
Yeah, it's
here, Ryan.
It's interesting when people say that, and you think, well, when Mikel Arteta got the Arsenal job, I was getting absolutely battered for supporting him. I mean, you always get that. You know, when Tuchel got the England job, I was thinking, well, he's the best man for the job, so support him. I think people have to realise it's not about passports; it's about ability.
George Williams says, looks like Brentford had Newcastle over a barrel for Visser. Last year, his contract close to 30. More importantly, lacks such composure on the ball. I mean,
Brentford's recruitment is absolutely remarkable, isn't it? You know, they sell their strikers and they bring in others, and they're just flying. You know, similar to Bournemouth.
Look, Visser hasn't had the greatest start at Newcastle, but he was injured for a long time. He's probably playing catch up. I think he should be given a bit of a chance.
So you're supporting Eddie Howe?
I'm still supporting Eddie Howe. That wasn't the argument. The argument is that he himself says that he's not doing a very good job.
No, and he is under pressure. But I think you'll find that most elite sportsmen and women are under pressure because they drive it themselves.
2 games today. Brighton v Crystal Palace. What do they call that one? The what is it, Derby or the
7
M23 Derby possibly. And Liverpool v Man City at 4:30. Man City really have to win if they're going to stay in this title race. Pep Guardiola saying today they're on the verge of returning to their dominant selves. Do you think he's right?
I mean, they've got issues at left back. I think the players they've signed in the January transfer window because of their financial firepower, it just, they will push Arsenal. But yeah, this is a huge test today. But you just look at Arsenal. I know we haven't really touched on Arsenal but their resilience, their strength in depth. Declan Rice looking certainly a contender for Footballer of the Year. Zubimendi, I think that's 6 goals he's got this season, effectively from deep midfield. So a fantastic finish. The strength they've got coming off the bench. If Saka's not playing, Madueke comes on. They've got Eze, who's probably would have liked to have featured even more. Trossard, who I always thought was a finisher, has been starting games, has been influential as well. Their recruitment has been very, very good. And you've got Kai Havertz coming back and playing in a slightly different position. And Gyökeres, I mean, I've always been a fan of Gyökeres, and I just thought some of the criticism, I said, just let him settle in. He's got to adapt to the way Arsenal play, and they've got to adapt to the way that he plays. And 2 goals.
So Man City can't catch them because of Arsenal's dominance?
Well, I think you've got to look at that. I mean, I can see Manchester City going on a good run, but probably not today because Liverpool will absolutely be up for it. But Arsenal, I just think, have just got it. There's just something about them. There's a momentum to them and a ruthlessness. And 3 of their 3 goals yesterday came from open play. So it's not simply about Nicolas Chauvet and their set-piece coach work.
Anyway, let's hear the thoughts of Man City boss Pep Guardiola ahead of this one.
It was the toughest opening and a difficult place and stadium, and especially quality of the players, the managers. Been tough. Top class manager, exceptional team, no doubt. The moments are the moments, the seasons are the seasons. So I think reveal the squad, and it's not revealed the squad for one season, for many, many years. So always remains a good team.
So he's still worried about playing Liverpool, obviously, and as you say, it's a difficult test. It's just Liverpool are just not the Liverpool of last season.
Well, defence has been an issue for them. Virgil van Dijk's been talking about the fact that criticism has probably been deserved in terms of their on-field.
He suggested there was bullying going on, though, with some of the experts. Now, if you can't, as an expert, criticise a player, no matter what age they are, if they're in the team for a reason, because they're good enough to be in that 11. Are you now not allowed to criticise them because people call them bullies?
So he was talking on Gary Neville's Overlap podcast, and it was in response to some of the criticism from pundits, which I think Virgil van Dijk was. He's almost a sort of spokesman for his generation, for football in a way, because he's such an intelligent and respected individual. And I think his point was making, look, I can take the heat because he's experienced, but he says that the younger generation who spend more time on social media may be more sensitive. Does he actually use the word bullying from pundits? I mean, it's quite a strong word, but look, it was the gist of the criticism from pundits, whether I think he mentioned Rooney, obviously, they had a sort of little bit of an issue earlier in the season.
He says they do it without thinking about the repercussions. But the thing is, if you've got an expert on telly, like a Rooney, like a Carragher, whatever, you want to know exactly what they think. Now, have you got to go, I better not do this because this player's 19 years old? Or 20.
I think if you know, look, we've had this on our side of the fence in our industry. If you know that a player is going through a difficult time away from football and their mental health issues.
You don't know that necessarily.
But you don't. But sorry, if you do know that, then obviously you're far more restrained. But I take your general point that if you are in the public domain, as long as you don't personalise it, I think you can say, well, they should have done better there, and that sort of criticism. I think that's completely fair. I mean, look, they're analysts. So I completely understand why those pundits would make those comments. I think Virgil van Dijk was... Do you know what? In a way, I think maybe he was sending a message to the younger generation, stay off social media.
Yeah, but they'll still find it out. This thing about stay off social media, I mean, I never post anything. I can't stand it, frankly, at times. But I follow it, I lurk, I see everything that's said. They can't avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never blocked anyone. I mean, I don't get anywhere near the...
That's because you're a good bunny.
Well, I've been a very bad bunny for some groups of fans, which is fair enough, absolutely. If you dish it out, you should be able to take it. What I find extraordinary is that players are allowed their phones in the dressing room, because there is instinctively after... I ban it, but I mean, you just say, well, just don't take it in there, because A, you want to focus on the game, but also they go on after the final whistle and just search their names on social media. And it might not be fans who are at the ground, who would have maybe more of an analytical and balanced view of how they've performed.
So, Man City, you're not confident they'll be able to close the gap much on Arsenal this afternoon then?
Well, they have to.
Yes, I know, but you sounded pessimistic about the chances.
Well, I don't think so. I think Liverpool will absolutely be up for it. But I think, look, I can see Manchester City going on a run because Pep Guardiola's just an outstanding coach, and that's even with my bias towards English coaches. The fact is that he has been. I mean, Jamie Carragher wrote a very interesting piece saying he's been the most important manager ever in the history of English football. I think Sir Alex Ferguson probably takes that in terms of his impact on the game and trophies. But absolutely, Pep Guardiola has just been fantastic. But Liverpool will be up for this. The Kop will be up for this.
Indeed, I'm sure they will be. That's it for us on Sunday Edition today. We've had a lot of fun. Up next, it's the warm-up with more Bad Bunnies, Max Rushton and Barry Glendenning.
I think there's times as well, isn't there? You look at the problem at Sheffield Wednesday and how Barry Bannon's gone about it when he's been there and he's come out and spoke when members of staff aren't getting paid and stuff. There's times to come out, isn't there, and speak, but the problems that Spurs